The economy is in a bad shape. Blame it on the big drop in consumption as people stayed indoors. That's why government is slowly allowing more businesses to reopen, including gyms, fitness, and review centers. But as long as restrictions are in place, consumers are still not entirely free to move around. How do we strike a balance so that retail businesses can get back on their feet and people will be confident again to avail themselves of goods and services? Let's have an exchange with Trade Secretary Ramon Lopez. Secretary Lopez, great to have you with us on the exchange. Many small retailers are really suffering and hurting, and many of them have even shut down. When can we expect these small retailers to get the help from the Bayanihan 2 Act?
Hi, Rico. Yes, well, definitely we will be able to give more support to the affected sectors once the budget is released, no? And of course, once the Bayanihan 2 is signed by the President. Right now, we're making use of the whatever funds available. In our case, the Small Business Corporation is using what it has from the budget, its budget, and that's only about 1 billion pesos, and basically used up already because we have approved about 1.3 billion already in loan applications, and we even have about 3.5 billion peso application, no, to be processed. Once we have an extra funding for this facility, we'll be able to continue with this program.
But Secretary, all of this money is still being processed. And we spoke to Lori, no, Secretary, who's an online reseller and a Tiangge retailer, and she shares the difficulty she's facing during this lockdown and this health crisis. Let's listen to her.
Nasa online kasi halos sa mga tao ngayon. So yung mga namimili sa amin, nag-online sila pa konti-konti, kumikita silang pa konti-konti. So, talagang parang ano yan domino effect lahat yan. Hindi tayo kayang pakainin ng gobyerno. Napakaraming poorest of the poor na which is dapat unahin ng gobyerno yun.
And Secretary Lopez, kagaya po ni Lori, many people are right now using the online trading platform to make ends meet. But the House has approved a bill basically imposing a 12% VAT on online transactions. Nahihirapan na po sila, bakit pa kailangan sila i-tax?
Well, ito naman tax is applicable to all, whether online or not online. If you are regularly in business, you really have to register your business. That's what we're saying. At any rate, there are exemptions or zero-rated tax. For example, for VAT, 12%, yeah. But if your revenue is something like, I think, 3 million in a year, the 5% VAT will be applied. So much lower than the 12%. Now, the other thing is if your income is 250,000 in a year and below, no, you are also tax exempt in the sense zero-rated yung tax.
But Secretary, over 250,000, that is still a lot of hard work for our online resellers. Can they not just be exempted?
Okay, pag micro, I think there are proposals like in the current Internet Transaction Act being considered now at the Senate. It's passed in Congress. They are intending to put some kind of a 2-year or 3-year income tax holiday muna for the micro sellers or micro entrepreneurs. So at least that's similar to the current barangay micro business enterprise, which grants that kind of tax incentive. At least for 2 years.
Well, that's good that there is a reprieve of at least 2 to 3 years for these online resellers. Let's now listen in, Secretary, to Julius Pampag, who's a gym trainer who fears that corruption will take place when the money from the Bayanihan 2 Act will be released.
Mas mabuti kung wag mo tang mangurakot kasi sa ni mga tao, mas malugmok pa pag nababalitaan yung mga ganyan. Mas maraming madadapa kaya mga good news na yung ipakita nila sa amin, mga mabubuting gawain.
And Secretary, this is not just a concern of Julius but also many business leaders. that when the money is disbursed from the Bayanihan 2 Act, it will not go to the proper sectors or maybe to the micro, small, and medium enterprises. How can you assure us that this money will be distributed accordingly?
Meron naman tayong reports diyan, at saka transparency is very much alive in government nowadays. One can examine even the type of loans and the granting of loans that we do. In SB Corp, for example, even just for the 3.5 billion that the SB Corporation or Small Business Corporation got in the last 3 years, ang napautang nito is for close to 6 billion already. Ibig sabihin, napapaikot niya yung pera and it's going to the micro entrepreneurs. So experience will tell us, and may track record, and the repayment rate is something like 95%. No? So napupunta talaga dun sa mga micro SMEs. And even if you look at the other GFIs, ganun din naman. They can easily track kung sino yung mga napahiram. And like for SB Corp, we can say that talaga napunta to sa mga micro entrepreneurs, micro small entrepreneurs. So assured yan pagka dyan dumaan. So para lang maano sila, ma-assure sila na hindi ito napupunta sa corruption. That's just I guess, yun yung common na iniisip lang.
Thank you so much for that assurance, Secretary Lopez. And I've been to malls recently, and the foot traffic seems to be still very low, and a lot of shops I see around have shut down, and a lot of employees have lost their jobs because these stores have closed. What are their options right now? What can you offer them, Secretary Lopez?
Okay, well, first, on the macro level, at least we're happy to know that yung ating unemployment rate has gone down from 17.7% yesterday. The unemployment rate for July went down already to 10% as we were reopening the economy. In other words, more and more sectors are getting opened over the past few months, and this means being able to bring back jobs to the workers. So with that, we hope that with more stable and more stability in jobs, income, we'll be able to bring back confidence. So it's very important. Matulungan yung companies so that yung workers, yung jobs nila ma-save. And at pag may trabaho ang tao, makomportable siyang gumastos at bumili. And that will stimulate again the economy. So it's very important para dumami uli yung tao sa malls and dun sa mga commercial centers. It's important. Sa ngayon, it's also a combination of yung aside from yung uncertainty, ay yung the fear of the virus itself. So they want to be safe. So marami ang tumaas. Actually, yung online. We used to have only 1,700 in the first 3 months. The following 6 months, it went up to 73,000 registered online sellers. So really, so may ibang sectors ang mga nag-grow. And as you heard earlier in the interview, even those with retail, physical brick and mortar store, they are doing also online as to augment their revenues.
And Secretary Lopez, we will continue our discussion in a while, and we'll focus now on issues bigger retailers are facing. Let's bring back now Trade Secretary Ramon Lopez. Secretary Lopez, we heard earlier what the Filipino was saying. Finally, we have the gyms, the fitness, and review centers opening up. What will be the next stage? What other businesses will be reopening soon?
Well, right now, after this last batch of service sectors, I think ang hintay na natin yung movement to modified GCQ, where all the remaining sectors will be open. Right now, kasi halos lahat na rin naman ng sectors open na except those that are crowd gatherer, non-essential service and entertainment type of activity. So naka-reserva na yon sa modified GCQs. And actually, ilan na lang yung GCQ. I think 4 or 5 areas, including Metro Manila. The rest naman are modified GCQ. So we can see really the economy moving back, but of course with the different protocol, and the citizenry actually has a new way of living. No? And basta masunod itong minimum health protocol, frankly, we can really reopen the economy.
All right, let's take a look at some of the issues of the big retailers, Secretary Lopez. We spoke with a clothing shop owner, and she has a question for you on opening up the economy. She says, when will they allow all inter-Luzon buses to resume operations? Many locally stranded individuals still can't resume work, including kasambahay and drivers. Government has to provide sufficient transpo if they really want to open up the economy. And she also adds this opinion: government can't expect MSMEs, even big corporations, to continuously provide shuttles or isolation areas for employees. Our resources are drained, and government should do their share. What do you have to say, sir, from these retailers who have these issues on hand?
Yeah, we commiserate with the retailers. Definitely, we're finding ways. That's why meron tayong programs for the retailers. Government has been investing also behind these health facilities. What we are just asking is for private sector or company to help augment this by, at least for their workers, part of taking care of their respective workers, na makapagbigay sila ng mga isolation facilities. It need not be in their area. They can tie up with a residential place, or basta yung may mga rooms, a small hotel, or even a medical facility. Parang tie up lang if and when needed that they can use those rooms. No? So that will be really more of as an extra service to their workers para naman maalagaan yung workers nila. The transportation sector was mentioned, and there are efforts done by DOTR. They made the announcement creating more jeepney routes and frequency of buses. We are now thinking of other ways on how we can maximize yung capacity inside a bus while still maintaining physical distancing. So these are efforts being done now to increase the capacity in transportation.
And Secretary Lopez, we also spoke to a restaurant owner, and he didn't want to be identified, but here is what he said. Let's take a look at what he said. Many companies in retail and restaurant sector operating less than 40% capacity. A lot will close if this will last until December. Very, very serious consequence if they can sustain their business. So it won't be a happy Christmas, and it will be a disastrous New Year for them if this happens, Secretary.
Oh, we hope not. That's the reason why we are trying our best to really reopen much more. You've heard about pushing back the curfew hours from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Thanks to the Metro Manila mayors. Talaga po, they also are in the same, they're aligned in trying to reopen the economy as much as they can in a safe way, gradual way. And we continue to push it in the IETF. The IETF, thankfully, also is adopting that mindset. Now it's time to reopen the economy and bring back the jobs. No? And we will be able to do this. The more important thing is for, again, everyone, the citizenry, to follow minimum health standard and then get more intensive campaign on tracing, on isolation, and testing and treatment. So all this will have to be done. And if there are hotspots, granular lockdown na lang. And we're learning how to deal with the virus. And we're saying, andyan pa yan until next year or maybe years after. So until the next vaccine and medication, treatment. So talagang we just have to adjust it with this.
And outside of Metro Manila, Secretary Lopez, Cebu is a key economic hub, particularly in the Visayas, and they're attempting to revive the economy by targeting consumers. This is what Camille Aldiguer from the Philippine Retailers Association of Cebu had to say.
Most retailers, one of their main concerns would definitely be our high rental rates. And we're very grateful to the malls and most of our landlords who have given us certain concessions. The Great Cebu Sale is being endorsed by Asek Caberte, who is the regional DTI director. Now that we've been downgraded to the lowest alert level, MGCQ, what we really need right now is to stir up consumer confidence.
So, Secretary Lopez, will this Great Cebu Sale 2020 boost consumer confidence? And should Metro Manila also replicate this kind of initiative?
Yes, certainly. We will encourage our our commercial centers to do also this virtual sales promo and sales event. So we congratulate Cebu for doing this. We really need all these programs to revitalize and re-stimulate demand in the economy and bring back consumer confidence. So maganda, good example yung ginawa ng Cebu. And
Okay.
that of course in the execution kailangan safe lang at walang crowding.
And what about this issue, Secretary Lopez, with many kids back at school and having to do it online? Should there be a price cap on laptops and gadgets? And if yes, when will this be implemented?
Okay, so actually this week we are finishing the study on this matter. As you know, computers have different specifications. And iba-iba pa rin ang brands at merong unbranded. So when we examined initially yung mga price range dyan, so wide, merong really low price at merong of course pricey. The ones that are branded, the ones that are with high specification, high specs. So what we are seeing actually, there's also a lot of competition taking place. So as long as may competition, you can be assured that prices, you'll be able to find the laptop or the gadget that will be suited for you. Depends on the specs that will be acceptable to you at the price that you want. So you can look for value for money offerings. So, but having said that, we continue to study whether at least will it make sense for us to put an SRP even on laptops or gadgets with basic features. Doon lang. Kasi when you add features, ano na yan we don't have to control many things. Dapat free market din yan. And you can see, basta may competition, maraming pa rin murang offerings dyan. So talagang maghahanap lang talaga.
Thank you so much for that insightful exchange with us, Trade Secretary Ramon Lopez.
Thank you. Thank you as well, Rico.